Hey, what is going on, SMT Nation? It is your boy, the SMT. I wanted to do this video to give you guys kind of like a final take, a final synopsis on my T-Mobile N41 testing that I've done over the course of the last several weeks. I basically spent the entire month of December testing N41 pretty extensively, actually. I pretty much tested every site that I knew of and that I could in the Cleveland area and its surrounding suburbs. I wanted to give you my thoughts, my reflections, my impressions on all of the 15 or so Cleveland area sites that I tested. I'll give you kind of like my take on it at the final end of the conclusion of this video. I think it'll give you guys a good idea of what you can expect from the connection as you are trying to make a decision as to whether or not you should upgrade your current device to get a device possibly that has N41 if you're a T-Mobile customer, or maybe if you're considering switching to T-Mobile from another carrier because you've heard good things about the N41. Let me start this video off by saying this. It is an instant capacity boost. The sites that are receiving N41 are able to take advantage of some pretty big gains. Typically what I was seeing from T-Mobile is anywhere in the area of 50 to 100 megabits per second is a very typical range when I run speed tests here in the CLE. You get a huge boost as soon as N41 is turned on and sites are upgraded to it. So not only in the downlink speed, but also in the uplink speed. Typically I was seeing somewhere in the range of 10 to 20 megabits on LTE. With the N41, you're going to see a huge boost there as well. So right off the rip, when I was testing and I looked at all of the data that I collected, the average or median range download speed is about 290 megabits per second. And then for the uplink, it's probably around 40 to 45 megabits per second. I think that's probably the most impressive thing, as uplink is a very difficult measurable. Most companies don't really have high uplink. For example, in my area, AT&T struggles greatly with uplink for whatever reason. It could be a number of factors. Verizon holds up pretty good, but it's definitely not a 40 megabit per second average. So in my opinion, I think the N41 connection is big time for uplink. And of course, your video streaming, your video calls, all of that stuff for uplink, as well as, like your Snapchats, your TikToks, all the really data intensive apps for uploading really do need that measurable, so it's important. So for non-millimeter wave, I was impressed by the uplink from T-Mobile's N41. I'll also throw in that the 2.5 gigahertz N41 connection works pretty well indoors. I tested it in a couple of random places. I specifically chose Target and Walmart because it kind of takes a look at two factors. Not only does it take into account the fact that it's indoors, but it's also going to take into a fact that, there's also this idea of traffic, right? A lot of people in a large store like Target or Walmart. And again, it held up pretty good in my experience. I think there was only one moment where it lost signal, but otherwise it held up pretty good. So even with the RSRP dipping a little bit, minus 109 and minus 111, I still held down to some pretty decent speeds, 100 to 200 megabits per second. I was most impressed by this, actually. It is clearly not perfect, the technology, the N41, but I will say, some of the things that I would like to see T-Mobile improve upon in this connection is the effective range was pretty limited. I was really only getting, connection within about a half a mile, which, at 0.5 or 0.6 miles, that's a big limiting factor. The better the range, the more people it's going to help. So for the common person who's either driving around using their device, or if a person is in a store, or is going around town, obviously the better the range, the more people it's going to help, the more of a difference maker is going to be. I think also, when I look at the downlink speed, for example, I know that the T-Mobile president of technology, Neville Rayz, said we should be expecting 400 megabits per second on average. That is simply not the case. I did not see that. Most of my testing showed speeds in the 200s. Some of the better speeds that I got were in the 400s. I think I hit 500 once possibly out of the 15 sites or so that I tested. So there's a couple of things that need to happen in order for this to actually reach its potential. For example, some of the sites are really, really far away from each other. It's really kind of like cherry-picked and in spots. There's no real clustering of the tower densification just yet. And I'm speaking from the angle of the Cleveland area. So the city of Cleveland and the surrounding area suburbs. I can't speak to other markets because I haven't tested it anywhere else. I know people have reported better results in certain cities and markets, so I'm going to stress that this is Cleveland area testing, and it is not necessarily indicative of what you'll see in the city you live in or where you work or where you play. That's really just depends on that place, because T-Mobile has had, pretty regionally strong performances in some cases, so I can't say that it's all going to perform like this. But when Neville Ray said expect averages of 400 megabits per second, that is simply not the case here. There needs to be an improvement in the tower density. Some of the sites that I tested, I had to drive 15 or 18 miles to get to them between the two sites. So you pretty much have to drive across town in order to get access to these sites. So they're, at this moment in time, they're kind of isolated in little islands of connectivity. I expect, honestly, a big 2021. I think it's going to be a big year for T-Mobile's 5G, the 2.5 gigahertz. The N41 is going to be a difference maker, 100%. Obviously, I think a big investment is coming for T-Mobile. It's currently not really nearing its potential just yet, but I knew that at the time of the merger, so April of 2020, I think it was only fair that we gave, T-Mobile a chance, give them about a year to truly start to build that out and try to make a difference-making connection that people can utilize and capitalize upon. So I'm going to stay true to that. I said I'd give them a year before I really judge them for this network access. So we'll see how it performs in the spring of 2021. That puts us about 4 or so months away. I will reassess it. But as of right now, I know that it just hasn't reached its potential yet. Based on the speeds I'm getting, I'm probably expecting some form of a massive backhaul upgrade. The fiber optic upgrades are probably coming within a year or so. As soon as this N41 starts to really get some network traffic on it, it's going to need that, fiber optic backhaul upgrade in order to truly capitalize on the potential of that spectrum. All right, the 2.5 gigahertz has a lot of potential, but it's going to need to be pushed by some really high capacity fiber backhaul. And I also think that more sites and clusters of sites will be added throughout the year. And I think that's going to be where things really start to make 2.5 gigahertz shine. So if I'm going to close this out on this final note, if you are a T-Mobile customer and you don't yet have a 5G phone or an N41 phone, should you upgrade? If that is what you need to know, the answer is yes. The N41 2.5 gigahertz is a measurable upgrade from anything else you may have on the T-Mobile network. If you are seeing 50, 60, or maybe even slower, maybe 20 megabits per second of LTE on T-Mobile, the N41 is going to offer an instant upgrade to your experience. It is definitely worth it to upgrade to an N41 phone. I understand it's pricey. I understand they're not cheap, the iPhones, the Galaxies of the world, but there are some mid-range phones, there are some entry-level phones that are on the way and on the market right now that do have N41, and if it's available in your market, it will make a noticeable upgrade and a noticeable difference, and you will enjoy your usage on the T-Mobile network with these upgrades. Expect more performance upgrades from the N41. I'll be testing it continuously throughout the year to see if they make those upgrades that I'm looking for in my area. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with my findings, if you agree with my conclusion. Let me know if you disagree. I'm perfectly fine with that. I can tell you right now that as soon as these upgrades happen large scale, it's going to be an absolutely tremendous performer. I'm super excited. I can't wait for people to take advantage of it, and it's going to be amazing. Let's give T-Mobile some time. I think they could do it. Let's see their spending increase, and hopefully we start to see a difference maker nationwide. Thank you for watching. Glad you guys were here. Happy New Year to you all, and we'll catch you all in the next video. That just about does it for this edition of the SMT YouTube channel. Thank you so much for taking this opportunity to watch. We appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to give this video a like and share it to all of your favorite social media platforms. Also, consider becoming a subscriber if you'd like more from the SMT, and activate that bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and you'll be the first to know when something does hit the YouTubes. Also, we've got items in the description box. We've got a Discord server. The @SneedTech Twitter handle is there, and there's ways to donate and support SMT creation. That pretty much does it for today. Thank you so much for being here again. Hope you have a great day, and we'll hopefully see you soon on the next video. Peace.